Alrighty, TGIF. Doc here from North America. It is Friday. Hooray for us. We got the weekend. And then we go into our holiday week. It goes Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then Thursday is the holiday for celebrating the pilgrims coming to Plymouth Rock and Governor Bradford and proving that socialism doesn't work, and it shows that after a year and a half of trying to give everybody everything equal, land and jobs and everything equal, and if you don't work, it's okay, and if you do work, it's okay, and no one gets any more or less reward from it, people start to die, because they figure they can just lay on their land and do nothing. And then what happens is that Bradford comes back, not comes back, but changes the laws. He's the governor, and the pilgrims get their act together, and they say, okay, everybody has the same thing again, but this time you can sell it. That's right. If you own it, you can sell it, and this way, if you have this patch of land and you want to grow something on it, grow it. And if you don't want to grow anything on it and you want to hire somebody to do that, you can do that. And if you don't want to do that, you can sell it. You can take some money for it. And capitalism evolves in America, and freedom and free to be. And that's in the 1620, and we celebrate that holiday. It's called the Thanksgiving. And it turns it into an interesting week. And then the buying for Christmas starts off at the Friday, and the stock market is half closed, and I don't know, I'm not even sure if gold is even open on Thursday and Friday here in the States, or silver, or oil, or some of the exchanges are totally closed. And so that is what we come into this week, and it's like, hooray, it's the end of the year, we're looking for the beginning of the winter, and when we hit that point, we're only like 3.5 weeks away from the winter start, and next thing you know is that we go through that season and we're back into the spring and growing again. So let's check the chat line. I see Austria has locked itself down, something about doing something like that on Monday or Tuesday or something or another, and it's just like, oh, okay, they're doing something to themselves, and just is what it is, I guess. Our what we call the red states here that follow William Bradford's ideas, things are open and people are healthier. And what we refer to as in the blue states, the socialist states itself, that's what we call blue states, which, oh no, they're socialist. What we have is lockdowns and things like Austria is trying to do, and that doesn't usually go too far. But when it comes to the red states, which are a majority, people are moving along, the economy's moving fine, and they're growing and they're happy. So, all right, let's see what we have on the screen. Let's check it out. As you can see there's the Swiss dancing against the top end of the range, something we talk about here literally now, it seems like every day for like the last year and a half. And you can see here we're playing with the you can't see that. And you can see right here, oh, that's not it either. The wrong button again. There you go. Now you can see right here we are playing with the daily sell. You see that. And over on J4X, we're still holding up in the buy by the hair of its chinny chin, but trying to roll over. And then at the same time, our weekly is trying to climb into a weekly buy right there. So right there in the weekly buy is trying to get into the buy, and the daily is trying to contract back from this nice little 50% move back up to the zero line of the trading range. And that's what that kind of represents here with the dollar. Now, there is all kinds of stories, with the end of the year and the settlements and, taxes and all that other stuff. The talk really is that, is this the top of a market? Too much, creating of capital. Oop, excuse me. I'm going to sip at my tea again. Too much creation of dollars, Wonder who's judging us if the U.S. is manipulating. And so our money supply is exploding. I think it's jumped like 30% just in the last year. Just a dramatic move on the upside there. They're trying to take their vote to spend another couple $1 trillion. That didn't seem to work out last night. The William Bradford side of the political spectrum sat there and debated it for 8 hours. One man was only allowed to speak, and he spoke for 8 full hours because they have a 1-minute rule, and he was allowed to speak as long as he wants because he is the minority leader. And we're looking now at unseen numbers. The polls are so dramatic that the Republicans, or the William Bradford, the Thanksgiving bunch, is basically going to get something like 70 seats in the House of Representatives. It'll be a supermajority and veto-proof, which was something the Republicans have not seen maybe ever. And if they have, they haven't seen it in over 100 years, I can tell you that much. So, as much as everybody would like to think that the Republicans have a lot of power in the states, it's been a long time coming. A lot of shenanigans goes on with the elections, and finally they're cleaning it up, and before you know it, the country will be functioning like a William Bradford again, and the sky is the limit. Growth and real productivity. And that's what a Thanksgiving is all about. All right, from there, we slide over to, we go to the euro. I think it closed in a daily buy. Let's get the fact check spreadsheet looking too. And as you can see, right there, let's see, where is it at? Line 14. You can see something's brewing there. There it is. Line 14 shows you that we are 1 day in a buy, 7 weeks in a sell. So let's take a look at it and see what it's doing today. And there is the euro against the dollar. As we scroll, there it is. And let's put it up on the Chicago Quant at the same time. You find that mouse, wrong mouse. Little mousey. Right there. Oh, no, they're knocking it back down again. So they slipped it into the buy yesterday, and now we go after the lows. I was saying that to AR and to, what's his name, Middle-Aged Muscle. Have your offer out there. That's why I said that. See, yesterday's high was 113.74. We thought maybe it might get to 90 or something like that. Try to challenge, I guess, but for sure we were looking for that high right there of that 13.85. So I said, have some offers out there. Try to get rid of some of that. Take a little profit, or turn it into a binary at that point. And because that's the option trading that they were doing, and now they are lower. You see that? That's the high of today. 13.72.9 versus yesterday's high of 13.74.2. So missed it by about 13 pips. We thought they were going to do that, fleeting up and then bang down. And there it is. It did it. And so we went into the buy yesterday. Let's put that line in there, like so. And then what happened was we are flirting now with a daily sell. And the weekly seems to be comfortable down on the downside, as you can see here. Way down here. Down, down, down she goes. Where she stops? Well, we think where Doc knows, and that is we think it might stop in the 108s. So we'll keep an eye on that action. Let's see. Over on Chicago J4X, you see the same thing with lots of red like we have here. See all that red there. You see it over here on J4X, lots of red. You see the white line down below and showing that weakness. So that is middle age. There you go. Cool. I'm glad you had, or the binary, either one. Good. I'm glad, because I was afraid that was going to happen. They would try to drive it up to that high. I was hoping for the 114 and try to go after that other candle to the left of it, but that's you always you got one or two things. If you see, we're in a weekly sell, and we've been in a daily sell. Then you bought into a bounce where we thought could possibly be the bottom end of the range. Now we're concerned to see if this thing's going to try to drive into the single digits, as they say on Wall Street. In other words, we're at the 112 and change right now. Do they go to the 109.90, 109.80, 70, something like that, So all-knowing, all-seeing, Kreskin. No. There used to be a TV show called The Tonight Show, and it had a guy named Johnny Carson on there, and he used to put a turban on, and they would hand him an envelope, and then he would like pretend that he was able to see what's in the envelope through his mind, right? And he would say something like last day of trading, and then it would be and then he would say my wife and my ex-girlfriend's birthday or something like that, you know. He'd come up with some wacko thing like that. So yeah, Doc does the same thing. Puts on a turban and he looks into the crystal ball, and or better known as experience from trading for too many decades. No wild. Oh, I didn't get any wild stories in my email. Well, let's just check to make sure no one. Normally I get these wild stories overnight, but not last night. No, not last night. It was relatively peaceful. So, what else can we say about all that? I seen some really good stories, you know, that came to me through the old traders. So it was kind of fun, you know. Some of them really, you know, heartfelt. So, all right. So there we are with the euro, and we'll see if that goes and does that next time. Didn't we put a Fibonacci up there? I could have sworn we put a Fibonacci up there. I hate it when this thing does that. All right, let's do this again. Didn't we do from 122 to 108? So let's do that again, you know, just to keep a track of it all. Yeah, I'm almost dead sure yesterday we did that, and then it erased it on us. So from there to 108. Kind of like that subconscious thing I was doing with the Turkish lira, you know. I don't know. I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to see where the Turkish lira is. Last couple days they've really excited it. And let's see, save workspace, and then save workspace as. And we want to watch that Fibonacci sequence, so we're just going to do it again. So we're going to go save. File, save workspace. There we are. All right, now we widen that out, and so it's standing on that 0.38, you know, dancing on that, and then, you know, and literally we could be looking at the possibility of, you know, obviously the 0.23 from there. So let's see, where is the 0.23? Let's see, how can we do this like this? There you go. The 0.23 is at 111.46. So I guess keep an eye on that 111.46 thing going on there, you know. What did I do? I'm sure I did something goofy, as I usually do. Doc was like that on the trading floors. I'd walk around from pit to pit, you know. I started off as a floor broker. Well, I started off as a runner on the floor. So by the time I became like a head clerk of a desk, and then from there I became a member as a floor broker that executed public orders, and then I became what is referred to as a local or a market maker, where you trade for your own account. And that's like the evolution. There are the 4 spots: runner, clerk, and, you know, there's levels of the clerk. And then there's levels of, and then you become a member of the exchange, and you execute orders for the public, or you jump right in and you start becoming a market maker or / a local on the futures exchanges. Futures exchanges call them locals, and the equity exchanges in the States call them market makers. I'm in break even now, so I'll hold that last call in case we go higher. Right, well, they may go down to that 111. You could buy a second call and then try to ride it up on an average. See if it bounces again back to, say, the 113 and change. Or they may just punish the daylights out of this thing and drive it right down to the 108. But you got so many months, you could always sell some calls and turn it into a binary up on the top. You could buy one lower, turn it into a binary, reduce your costs, and then and then try to play the bounce again, that type of thing. But we may be in this is the end of the year tax wise, so you don't know if they're taking losses. What funds do sometimes is they take losses in the things they're taking, they've been losing money in, and then they take profits in things they've been making money in. And so there's a good chance, because of the way let's take a look at it on J4X. So you see here, September, the product's down from the 119 area, and then let's see what it is in January. Okay, so there is June of 2001, this year, and let's see, where is the beginning of the year? Beginning of the year is right there. Is that what it is? Yeah, there's January, right? There's December. So there's a lot of losses on the long side of the euro against the dollar. So they may be taking those losses, and so they can take profits on the other side of it. The tax thing. That taxes are bad. Trust me, they really wreck investing. That's why. We in the States try to get rid of as much taxes as possible. Lowering taxes grows the economy. The lower the taxes you go, and people in the low income brackets pay no taxes, minus of course their local state taxes. But the federal tax is pretty bad. It really hurts and slows the world economy in general. So. That's pretty much where we're at the moment. And hello, BIE132. We just became friends. So yeah, that's where we are with the euro. It could be literally tax selling, and this way, if you're long Apple, you can take some profits out of it, or you're long Tesla for the year, or anything's possible, Siemens, or whatever. You could take a profit, offset your losses to the gains, and book some of that do re mi. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to the British pound. The pound ski's still holding in. Oh, didn't mean to move that dot like that. You can see the pound. Still in a daily buy, holding up, but look at the weekly. They really have an issue. We really need probably to get past between the 3/8 kind, the 0.38 to the 0.50. We probably have to get up to here to get it to go into a weekly buy. At this point, I haven't done my internal math, but I'm just guessing at this point. I like my newer stuff this way, watching the lines instead of putting the number out there. And let's put it up on J4X. But that's what we see at the moment. Is it seems like cable seems to be finding ways to hold up. And there it is. There. Matter of fact, it looks like it's at that range where it wants to bounce. Well, it's towards the most middle of the range, I guess you could say, or higher end of the range. But at least it's holding up. You got a little red there. We're still green, as you can see right there. We're still green. Can you see that? Yeah, we're green right there. And see if everything has moved along. Are we still transmitting? Oh, let me put the volume up. Make sure. Can we hear each? I don't think I can hear us. I don't hear me. Does anybody out there hear me? Can you hear me now? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Is it just me? I don't hear me. The sound has disappeared. Let me just refresh this. Okay, we're going to refresh and see what that does. Okay, there we go. I hear it. Yep, I hear it. Excellent. So I just had to refresh. There we go. All right, so yeah, you can see the cable seems to be holding up just consistently. But look at that poor weekly. That weekly is still getting pounced on. Right there. I mean, just not. Okay, yeah, it was me at my end. Sorry about that, guys and gals. All right, now, let's see. Upgrade? No, thanks. I have this. What is it? I have this Academy education thing that keeps on. They send me papers on different physics stuff and mathematics, and they keep on trying to land me to pay for it. I like the free stuff myself. So there we go. I guess that's the cable. Now I'm excited because I want to see. We've gotten to those crazy numbers that we thought we would see in the Turkish lira. Over in the euro side, we thought we'd see the 12.5. We saw the 12.5. We were looking for 12 to 12.5 range. It's gotten through the 12.5, but I'm sure they're going to start stalling out in there now. I mean, that was all from my subconscious picking up the idea over the last 6 months that it would go from 1.5 to 3, from 3 to 6, and then 6 to 12, and that's where my head was at. Nothing real magical about the math there, just that it seems to have had that characteristic. So, all right, now let's check that out, and we'll go over to the dollar Turkish lira to start off with, right there. Right there. And we'll put it up on J4X. There it is. It's coming up on J4X now as we speak. And yeah, it's still firm. Still firm. You can see it on the dollar Turkish lira at the moment. You see it right there. It's still not as high as yesterday, of course, but the pressure is on that weekly. It's been a long weekly trend, long daily trends. Real consistent. Can't complain about that. That's for sure. And you can see it over here, same situation, just marching along. Now let's check out the euro Turkish lira. There it is, right there, right on the number 1250, the top end of that range that we thought we would see. We thought we'd see a trade to between 12 and 1250, and let's see what the high has been. If yesterday was the high, also. Right there, right there. Yep, yesterday was the high also, with a high of 1281.9. Woo! You can see the peak there. This could be the beginning of sideways action now for the next X amount of months. You see that weekly buy. Just went on and on and on from the September, the beginning of September to now. It's been a rocket shot. Not much more to be said about the Turkish situation. Just that I've kind of had a feeling now over the last couple of weeks that a lot of this has got more to do with the European Union than it has to do with President/former Prime Minister Erdogan trying to just devalue it to get investors into the country. I think it's got more to do with literally the trade structure of the European Union and Turkey, since Turkey was on the edge of becoming a member of the European Union. And since it was on the edge of it, they must have been prepped on some level, and so they had to devalue their currency to adjust for the loss. So in other words, so they didn't get the trade connections, whatever they were trying to sign. So what they had to do is they had to devalue their currency to keep Europe buying Turkish products. So he wasn't really trying to sell off the assets of Turkey per se. What he was trying to do is keep the European Union actively trading with Turkey instead, since they couldn't pass or agree on ways of joining together, becoming one, becoming united. So, and that's where I think that's what that's all about now. I've had that epiphany about 3 weeks ago. After all these last couple of years, I didn't really understand. I really thought he was trying to just exhaust, lower the assets the value of the turkey itself, so that he could get investors to come in. But it's not investors I think he's looking for. What he's looking for is just trade trade and commerce. That's it. Nothing more than that. So my March corn trade has stalled out. Yeah, I saw that this morning. It stopped, but the weekly is really, really strong. Here, let's tune into that. We showed soybeans here yesterday on J4X, because Dukascopy does the beans, and let's tune into the corn. But yeah, I saw that pressure on corn on the front month. I think the back months are still just holding up, just lightly. We can take a quick look at that. That's always fun. And then we'll switch over to that real quick, and then we'll all remember to go to the Canadian after this. Take a look at Canadian. Okay, so that's oats, dotes, and little does and daisies. So let's take a look at, like right there. No, not that. Oops, we did that wrong. Okay, let's go look at corn. So here's December corn, and December corn is, it's flirting. Where's it at now? It's not showing today. What the heck? It was there this morning. Let me just show you what we sent out this morning, just real quick. So yeah, is that corn? No, it's that cattle. I missed it. There it is. Yeah, so you see there, yeah, there was the weakness right there. That's what we sent out. It's going underneath the daily sell right there. You can see that. And see that pressure there. Exactly. And then let me go tune into it real quick. Let's put it up there like that. And let's take a look at some of the others. Kill that. Fix this. Let's fix it so we can see it live. Not sure what the issue is there. Let's double check. Okay. Here it comes. There we go. So now we switch back over again to live. There it is. Not Memorex. And so you can see here, pressing down. Look at the weekly. You can see it right there on the weekly. I mean, it's way up. They're not really selling it. This is just profit taking. We saw that last time with this action here. They profit taked. They tried to get the weekly down right there, and then it started to turn. And matter of fact, we had some clients. Robin was saying we've had 2 or 3 clients contact us in the last 48 hours or 24 hours or something like that, saying, how could the math know about, like, I don't know, which one's feeders and corn or whatever, I don't know, something like that. Because I guess the math caught the moves. Like, they're at their highs, right? All-time highs or something like that. And I guess he said, one farmer said, we just looked at your numbers and we've been looking at them, been using you for a year now, and we just said, okay, this is where Doc's going to be wrong, or Chicago Quant's going to be wrong. And he said, we had 2 different farmers from 2 different parts of the country contact us and say, incredible, just incredible. Your math picked it up. It's like, yeah, it usually does. It's 8.5 out of 10 times right. So, it's got a high percentage of success. And so, but we actually had subscribers contact us saying, incredible. We thought this couldn't happen. Both of them were farmers following like feeders and corn and wheat. One was talking about wheat and feeder cattle, and another one was talking about corn and live cattle or something like that. I don't know. So, yeah, I hear you. I don't, and you can see, like here, the one thing that seems to limp along, let's go over to J4X for a second. The one thing that has my eye constantly is the fact that soybeans seem to have locked themselves into just a low end of the range. See it right there on the J4X. You can see the soybeans just kind of hanging around out there. And, we've put articles up saying you cannot follow one product thinking you're going to trade all the products with the one product. Everybody watches soybeans and they're like, oh, And here, let me just show you how soybeans look on our charts here. It's been in a weekly sell a long time. This looks like looks like it's going to climb into the weekly buy. The JAG contract has been in a weekly sell since the 113.5, 14 area back in August, right? And towards the middle of August. And it traded down to 12. Under 12, actually. You can see it right there. You see it on J4X. You see that way low down there. Whereas the rest of the products turned and went north. You know, they went up. I like that. It's the bomb. That's cool. So far out, man. So far out. You know, remember, I was in high school in the 60s. So, yeah. Right arm. We used to say right arm instead of right on. You know, because it was a joke. Because someone in 1968 or something like that was confused when they saw, I guess it was the Black Panthers, and they were like, they had the black gloves on, and they were like, you know, they had the right arm up in the air, and they thought that they were saying right on, and so we started saying, oh no, it's right arm. Right arm, man, right arm. Anyway, let's see, where are we at this point? Oh yeah, so anyway, yeah, the corn. Let's take a look at some of the other corns too. There is the deck corn that we just talked about right there. Now check out the, what other corns are there? Let's see. Then we have, there's deck corn. There's March corn. Let's see what March corn looks like. Now the March corn is doing the same thing. It's showing the same weakness. And then, what else do we have? I think we have May corn. There's May corn. And May corn is doing the same thing too. It's showing the weakness. And then I think September, which would be the new crop, right? September corn. Let's see if we can find it. Right. There's May corn. I think we have Sep corn somewhere around here. I know we do. There it is. September corn. I think it's like sitting on the line. Oh, okay, now it's dipping a little bit. And so now we can put a line on it. When we sent it out this morning, it was just on the surface. Just on the surface. But now it's actually dipped underneath also. So they're taking some profits out of it. Made new highs, you know, of the last X amount of months in the corn. You can see that. Matter of fact, that's September corn. Yeah. You know, it's there. That's all the way back to April. Yeah. Interesting stuff there. All right. Let's see. So I guess that satisfies the corn conversation and the soybean conversation we were doing on Dukascopy here. All right. Let's jump back over to Canadian. Let's see. But if anybody wants to see anything, please shout it out. We like hunting around and looking at fun things. Okay, so let's do Canada. There's Canada. So there's Turkey Lira for the week of Turkey Day. This is Turkey Week coming up, and then Turkey Day. I always think of it more as William Bradford Day myself, but you know, the day in the year and the event that represented that capitalism works and socialism does not. In 1620. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. So this is what this week is coming up, is capitalism works and socialism just doesn't. People die. And that's what William Bradford showed. And he tried. He tried for a couple of years and just people kept on dying and nobody was growing. And then he opened the doorway to capitalism and boom, it happened. And there is CAD. You can see CAD's still lifting up here, showing some good strength. We're through the weekly for one full week now. Boy, they did torture us. We go into the buy here. We go into the weekly buy there, and it tortures us, plays with the 50 percentile. And now, you can see it's marching its way back up. So, Canada is holding on. Now, wow, I heard some really wild stories. Something like Alberta and British Columbia, I don't know, the three provinces out west pay the taxes for Canada, and so like in the east here they just suck off the tit of the west, and they're really angry at Mr. Biden. He had the president of Mexico, the Prime Minister of Canada here yesterday, I guess it was, and neither of them are happy with Mr. Biden. You know, Mr. Biden is down to 34% in the polls. We've never seen presidents go that low. I mean, it's like, you know, especially a Democrat. Democrats usually don't know how to go below 50%. I mean, right now, we're going to pick up, I said this at the beginning of the webinar, we might pick up a super majority where he's literally veto-proof. They could literally impeach him, and he'll have to leave office. Can you imagine that? We may have the ability to actually impeach the guy, and he'll have to leave office. Who knows? They may impeach the vice president first and then impeach the president. Who knows? Because this way they can at least do the Gerald Ford thing, you know, where they bring in a competent person to be president, you know. Because right now, between the two of them, I don't think they know what day it is on a given hour. They have no idea. On a given hour, they don't know which day it is. The two of them are really a joke. She got like 1% of the vote. I mean, not even. And him, I don't know what's you know, if it wasn't for that stealing of the election in the swing states, he would never be president. So, what do we got going on here? I guess right there. Let's go check out, since Canadian is up, we're thinking that the gold is down, or the oils are down, or sideways, or something of that nature. So let's go tune into the metals complex. We're going to head over there right now. And there it is right there. There's gold. You see it's kind of a little up for the day. Nothing major, but still a second day of a sell. Made new lows. Weekly's very firm, just like that, you know, corn thing going on. And then let's take a look at the oil complex. Right there. And there's silver. Silver's still in the buy, but really battling hard. You know, it's on the edge. They're trying to do something with it. Yeah, and holding up on that weekly. We really think that, you know, this is the 6th head and shoulder now, so we're really convinced that you know, it's going to build another head and shoulders here somewhere along the line, and somewhere it's going out into mid-December. Maybe they start to take it up again. You know, maybe it's just another. Maybe this will be number 7 on the head and shoulders. Because I mean, that's and you have to imagine that sooner or later the metals complex has to get going. I mean, they're doing a good job of keeping it down, which makes the money man. Remember, many funds, and I'm going to repeat myself, but this is important for traders to understand. When you're a fund, you know, a mutual fund or a retirement fund or a hedge fund, you incorporate, okay? An incorporation has something referred to as a manifesto. That manifesto says, this is what we're going to do. It explains what you're going to do. And the more precise that you are about what you're going to do, you must do, or you will be sued. It doesn't matter if you're making money or not. People will sue you because you stopped doing what you incorporated to do. It'd be like, imagine if you opened up a company to grow apples, and instead, the last moment you chose to go gamble in Las Vegas with the money. Well, then they could sue you, okay? Now, let's say you incorporated a company that chose to do educated gambling in Vegas. People put their money into that investment. And then let's say you decided you wanted to be an apple farmer, and you moved to Washington State instead of Vegas, and you buy all this land. Instead of going to Vegas and gambling, you choose to grow apples. Well, they'll be allowed to sue you, okay, for growing apples and not gambling, okay? And that's the manifesto. And so a really good fund does a real good job of kind of laying out what they're going to do, but try to be a little nebulous, is the word? You know, a little tricky, so that they can't get sued so easily, okay? And they try to do what they said they were going to do in their plan. You know, they try to do a combination of both of those. So, in this case here, a lot of times funds will have an inflation factor. And they'll say, if inflation goes to X, that's a real popular thing in funds, is to, you know, because, you know, for for many years and decades, people have dealt with inflation at times. Okay, and so they try to incorporate that into any investment incorporation. What you're going to do if inflation kicks up used to be that you would sell some bonds that you had in your portfolio. You would buy some metals to hedge for the inflation. You might, depending on the price earnings ratio of stocks, you would be long stocks to compensate for the increase of inflation, because companies can raise prices on their product until the economy slows down from the inflation and the recession side of it. And then what happens when the PE starts to back off, then they have to sell some of their stock. Okay? And so these manifestos are very in depth like that. And so what we're probably seeing now is the Federal Reserve has been holding the metal complex down, because it probably says, well, if inflation goes to X, you have to have a certain percentage of metals. So they've got to let the metals move up a little bit, and they can't just keep on knocking it down, because there's probably also a value ratio. Like, in some of these more sophisticated funds, they lay it out like, if inflation goes to 3%, we're going to go to 1.5% in metals. And if inflation goes to 4.5%, we'll probably go to 1 3/4 or 2% of the portfolio in metals. It says stuff like that. Here we go. Middle Age says, I'm holding for 1900 gold and 26 on the, I agree with you. I think it's gone there. And I think in the next 2 weeks, we will see probably another Head and Shoulders, and next thing you know, we'll be at 26.10 or something like that. And what did we do this time around? We still have silver up there. Let's see, where did we get to? Did we get to 25.5 or something? 25.25? We got to 25.5 just about, right there. 25.47. So, the next move might be, say, 26. It could be that. Maybe even a little bit better. What happens if there's an end-of-year panic? That type of thing. Remember, there's a good chance. Let's go to J4X. Let's take a look at silver for the year. Could they be selling silver as a tax sale at the moment? It's a possibility. When something has been started the year off higher and is lower, that forces companies to do a tax sale. They take losses. So let's see, where was it? There is February. There is, what is that? That's January. So silver was in the 27 area, right? And we've gone all the way down to 21-ish. And now we're at 25-ish. So some might be actually trying to lighten up, but they can't lighten up too much since the inflation numbers kicked out. So you got this real dance going on with the manifestos and tax selling at the same time. They're allowed to sell some, but they're not supposed to, because they need to be 1 3/4 or 2 or 2.5 in the metals complex. So, and you might see that. Let's take a look at gold again. Now gold could be literally up for the year or flat, right? So gold, what's that? That is, that is January. Okay, so that's the December. And gold was in the 1900 area. And now it's, where's gold at today? Let's put gold back up on the chart here. So gold is trading at 1863 with a high of 1873. There's a high of 1871. There's a high of 1870. So, there's a high of 1873 again. So it's only $50 off its highs there. So they may be buying gold more than they're buying silver at the moment. And then there's funds that do both. They're metal funds, so they have to keep the ratio. They talk about what ratio they're going to keep. So you have a lot of these interesting influences because of taxes. Taxes do this stuff. This is taxes. No wonder, when you wonder why a lot of us hate taxes, this is the reason why. They're not buying gold and silver because of supply and demand, or it's a good investment or bad investment. They're literally dealing with it because of taxes. They're taking a profit. They're trying to hedge inflation. At the same time, they're trying to take a loss on the product at the same time. They may have been invested too. It It could be that. I mean, and now they're really trapped because they're supposed to have X percentage by the end of the year because of the inflation numbers, and it can be as precise as waiting for Federal Reserve's GDP and then having a sliding scale of what the first month of the quarter said versus the second month of the quarter said versus the quarter itself or the ending quarter. So you have all those type of things influencing these products. That's why I stay with my math. My math is going to read the demand, the supply and demand side of it all, and my math does that instead. And that's usually the cool thing about it all. Middle Age says it would have thought that the daily quant in silver would be in a sell today. It tried. Yesterday's chart, it tried. It really did. I think it just shows you that head and shoulders thing that goes on, the stair step down, and now we're doing a stair step up. Robin and I were talking about the stair step. He was telling me about this one trader. They used to have these little cards that you could hold in the trading pit. You could chart, right? Do paper charts with them. And there was this one guy Robin used to stand next to. I've seen guys doing the same thing. There's a technical analysis called stair steps that has to do with head and shoulders, reverse head and shoulders, things like that. And and we've talked about that here, that this era has never been a better era in technical analysis. I've never seen technical analysis work so well. My math has worked well for, I've back tested my work for 90 years on the Dow, and expanding galaxies on the second thermodynamic law for something like 36 million years, and isotopes out of the Perimeter Institute of Waterloo, Canada, their work. I've back tested the isotope. It's been incredible. My math works at the minute level, the atomic level, the galaxy level, the intraday level, the daily level. And it's has a track record of literally millions of years, not only just decades in certain areas. And so. When it comes to technical analysis, there's a good history of technical analysis for a good 100 and some odd years now. And Robin and I've never seen technical analysis work so well. Our math always works well. I'm not worried about my math. My math is always an 8.5 out of 10. It's the overall, like the Fibonacci, the MACD, the stochastic, the moving averages, parabolics. They work really well, more than ever before. So, it's just something to think about. All right. Gold is pretty high up in there, but we're really surprised also that the silver has not been able to go, and I have to blame taxes. In my head, I think that's really the answer right now is taxes. And you can see the pressure on J4X there, red for a couple days on the silver. And then look at it here. Right there. You can see it's fighting on my work. It's trying to fall apart, but it just can't. It's down. It's down from the 25, 28 area. It's gone all the way down to 20. Where is that? 24.90, 24.70s. So it's 50 cents lower, but it just refuses to go into a sell. And that weekly won't even touch the time manifold here. Look at that. You can see there. It just keeps on staying up there. So I have to believe that it's going to find a way to go up more than it is going to go down. I feel the same, Doc. I've been a Patreon trader for 30 years, and it's never worked better than I know. It's freaky. And wasn't I saying something about it yesterday about one of the old heads told me that they had like a nephew or something like that, or a niece or someone like that on the Fed trading desk. And they've been saying that the Fed trading desk out of New York has been like, they're using like John Murphy's technical analysis book. I'm serious. I'm not joking. They're actually using it. They're using it to make decisions, to trade. As long as on a buying basis. In other words, it back and fills, they buy it, and it goes higher, and they make a new high, and then it tries to retrace the new high, and they use the Fibonacci, or they'll use the 50-day moving average, or they'll do something like that, or the parabolic, and it breaks down to the bottom of the range, and they buy again. They don't sell. They just buy more. Remember, they're adding billions every month to the marketplace. So, yeah, I mean, they're following it like a book. They are. It's crazy shit. crazy stuff. Can I say that? Crazy shit? Yes. I don't know. It's crazy stuff. Let's put it that way. Definitely crazy stuff. So let's see what else we got going on here. Yeah. Basically, I guess what it really comes down to, how can I say this? It basically comes down to the fact that all that free money, and again, then brings us right back to the metals complex. Like, how long can they keep on doing this? You know, how long can they keep on? You know, really. That's the only way I can see it at this point. All right, where do we go from here? I guess what we do is we shoot over to, let's see, let's look at the South African Rand. I think that's what we're really looking at this point. Let's go there. And there it is right there, South African Rand. You see it on J4X. No, I don't see it on J4. I just pushed it. Where'd you go? There it is. And so there it is right there. It still seems to be drifting onto the upside. You know, it knows that fast money's not coming in. I guess that's the best way to describe it. We used to call it that on the floor, fast money. You know, it'll probably drip and drab its way, you know, sideways for the year. You know, no real. And that's where we stand. All right. Now we go over to the ruble right there. You see it's holding up in that weekly or daily buy and holding up in the weekly buy, the ruble. Oh, you can't see that. Let's do this. There it is. Let's put it up on there too at the same time. And it's just holding up. You know, they don't let go. It just keeps on pressing on the upside. And there just is no, you know, I guess there's a lot of noise right now. Anything's possible. You know, and a president like Mr. Biden, you know, is a dangerous creature in some ways. In this case here, we don't have to really worry about him making a stupid decision since that's all he has been doing. So it can't get too much worse than what it already has been. Oh, I appreciate that, Middle Age. Yeah, I've had some of the best people in the world tell me that. So you're in good company. I can tell you that. You know, I've had some of the top people in the world say that. You know, in the financial industry. One of the partners at Cowan and Company tried to tell me that it wasn't my math; it was me. You're a natural, he said back in the '90s. You're a natural. It's you. Now over at Ulysses, you know, Jack Nash. The founders of Oppenheimer funds, Jack and Leon Levy, you know, they just love the math. You know, you know, they just didn't even know how to describe it after a while. After a couple of years, they were just like, it just is accurate. You know, just as well. I created it to fight with the Higgs. You know, so it just happened that I found out over time that there were physicists doing things like that in the financial industry, and then they legalized options in 76. They were fully legalized and listed options, and all us mathy type people started to run towards it. So, that taking my math, it took a while for, I was using my math, I was using other forms of math looking at the markets, and then I started to put my formula that I invented when I was in England to deal with the Higgs into my math, into the markets, and started realizing that it had a relationship. So not only did I now have, I had not successfully proven that at the time that Higgs was a bunch of, horse poop, but I had put a formula together to prove that it was a bunch of horse poop. And then, as time went on, and I was able to back test things with the Higgs concept and math, and then looking at other things in physics, and then putting it to the marketplace every day, I started to learn a lot about the math. And the math started teaching me things because I was watching it in real time, not in theoretical mathematical time. And that's probably the great success of being practical about math. I think that's the best way to describe it. Is that, that's why I'm always a very anti-theoretical math person. I don't like the way theoretical math speculates without physical proof. So in other words, it's one thing to create take the objects moving on an electrodynamic field. Albert Einstein's June 5th paper in June 6th paper in 1905. It's one thing to take that paper and look at his mathematics, and then they go and they create special relativity and general relativity out of it, and they twist it and turn it. But you're not dealing with reality. You're dealing with, Einstein was dealing with reality on some level, even as he was playing with philosophy, but he was dealing with reality because he was looking at Maxwell. He was dealing with Faraday. He was looking at the electrodynamics of objects on a surface. He wasn't, his E equals MC squared is not even written that way at that time. They changed that to that. He was looking at matter, not mass. So when you're dealing with theoretical, it's really bad. Trying to make it practical. When you try to say, okay, this is the world the way it is. This is the way the universe is, and black holes are this, and boom, okay, boom, that, and that's all wrong. You've got to have physical proof. Well, taking my math and putting it to actual daily activity that's nuts and bolts measurable, rubber meet the road, is so much more insightful than taking an $18 billion accelerator and banging things against each other, not learning anything from it, more than the fact that it didn't work and we're still searching, that type of thing. That's, subtraction minus subtraction is not a success. It's just subtraction, and it's a minus. And so I need pluses in my reality. So, all right, traders, we're done for the day, done for the week. All right, we will see you on Monday. TGIM coming around the corner. Thank goodness it'll be Monday. And it'll be Turkey Week also at the same time. Gobble, gobble, gobble. William Bradford. So, happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Monday. Happy trails to you, to all our Dukascopy trading friends and Chicago Quant trading friends and global friends and New Zealand and Australian and European friends and Asian friends and Middle Eastern friends and friends and subcontinent friends and anybody out there on islands